Welcome back, true believers and spectacular Spidey fans, to another really awesome Spider-Man PS4 related video. Now, today is another awesome update from Game Informer for Spider-Man PS4, and I'm really excited to watch it. And the reason why my hair looks super terrible right now and why I look super tired is because last night I was expecting to pick up God of War today on April 20th, but my mom actually surprised me, and she went out on her own and she picked up God of War for me, and she surprised me last night by giving it to me as like an early thing, because you know people could go and pick up God of War early on April 19th last night if they got in line early enough, and she went to a GameStop without me knowing and got it for me, so thank you, Mom. And I just played it all last night, not all of it, but I stayed up until 3 in the morning playing it, and that's why I'm up now at 12:05 in the afternoon. But that's not stopping me, because there is, of course, another awesome video from Game Informer, because usually we've been getting these kind of articles recently from Game Informer. So the last articles we have gotten is everything we know about Peter Parker and Mary Jane. And someone asked, oh, so now are we going to get something about everything we know about Miles Morales? And they said no. So that's really interesting that we're not going to get an update about Miles Morales, which is, I wonder if that's because we don't know that much about him yet, or they didn't show that much of him when Game Informer went to visit Insomniac. But today, we have everything about the suit and how it was designed for Marvel Spider-Man. So, designing the look of Spider-Man, that's the exact title for it, which is really cool. And of course, you know me, that white spider suit for me looks absolutely stunning. And art director Jacinda Chu is of course the one who mainly designed it, and she is going to be interviewed in this video, and she is just amazing. And if you're watching Jacinda on Twitter, she posted that she doesn't have one of those Spider-Man PS4 Funko Pops, and I tried to see if GameStop had any, but I'm gonna go and see later today if I can go and check on and see if they have any. But I did have the opportunity to get this, which is really cool, the Gwenom Funko Pop, but I couldn't find any Spider-Man PS4 Funko Pop, so I'm sorry, Jacinda Chu. If I do find one, I'll try and get one for me and for you, because of how awesome you are. So, for the description of this video, it says, while Insomniac's Spider-Man is instantly recognizable as the classic character, there are actually many elements of his design that are unique to their version. In the video below, art director Jacinda Chu goes into the rationale behind the design. I'm so tired, guys, I'm sorry. As well as gives insight into some of the smaller details and the tech behind making it work in the game. So that's really cool, and usually I would do a Spider-Man PS4 101 episode of this, but it's a cool video, and you know me, I love the behind-the-scenes looks we've been getting at the combat and the swinging and the interviews with Yuri Lowenthal, of course. So this is just another awesome one, and I can't wait to see it. So let's see, 3, 2, 1, go.
So when we were first designing the suit for Spider-Man, we had to think about a bunch of things. First, you have to figure out what makes a Spider-Man suit a Spider-Man suit.
Oh, that's cool.
What was classic about it? So one thing we looked at was obviously the coloring. We kept the red and the blue color because Spider-Man's suit actually comes in a bunch of different colors, but if you're not a Spider-Man fan, you may not even know that. So because we wanted to establish our brand new universe, we decided that it was best to just keep it red and blue, because that's what most people are familiar with. And then the other thing we looked at, which was really interesting to me, was the web design and the web patterning. And one thing that's super cool about the web patterning in the classic suits is that it always starts in the center and it emanates outward. But then that web patterning actually continues on the entire design of the suit. So anywhere there's red, for example, that web patterning actually continues. Cool. So that's something that we did to continue the classic suit look. And then from there, we actually had to look at what would make it modern and what would make it functional. And one of the things I looked at was, what a 23-year-old would be using as his inspiration when he's creating a suit. So a couple things that we did was we looked at athletic gear. So you think about how functional athletic gear is, and like what it does to support you, what it does to allow flexibility. That's the same type of logic we apply to the suit. So if you look at our suit, you'll see that there's a lot of paneling that might be similar to something you find in athletic gear. We also looked, for example, at athletic shoes. So you'll see that one of the main things that's different about our suit, that's different than the classic suit, is that there's no longer a red boot. And that's because if you're a 23-year-old, you very much probably are not going to want to wear a red boot. It's not something that would be cool.
Detailed.
We thought an athletic shoe would be more appropriate for someone who's that age. The other thing we did was, in looking at sports gear, was just trying to think about the functionality of the suit. And if you look at the color blocking on the suit, you'll notice that there's actually a lot of rationale behind it. The blue is where we allow flexibility for Spider-Man, so that's where he would require the highest range of motion. Anything that's red is actually made out of a slightly thicker material, and it's what he would be using for armor reinforcement. It's where he might get hit the most, or where he might be, for example, scraping against a building when he's swinging around the city.
So
and then
smart.
We get to the white, and the white is actually like a flexible carbon fiber. So if you look really closely at it, you'll see the surfacing on it, and you can tell it's carbon fiber. That's located on his chest, it's on his gauntlets, and also on his feet. That's what he would use for, again, when he's fighting, that's where he want reinforcement, and he's blocking. That's the other reason why you want carbon fiber in those locations. So
like intricately made. I love it.
Figuring out the rationale behind this suit. The very first time we worked on this, his anatomy, we actually had sculpted him as like a gangly teenager, right? So he was really lanky, he was a bit skinny, he looked kind of awkward. But when we were playing with that model in game, he didn't look right because, again, he's supposed to be older, he's supposed to be more confident. So it didn't really look right. And then we went the other way, and we actually started making him look more like a linebacker or a football player. And then you have this really buff, kind of heavy-set person like swinging through the city, and that didn't look right either. So we finally settled on something that was a little bit more fluid, more like a fighter's build. And that's what you see in our Spider-Man. Someone who's more competent, but again, more experienced. So Spider-Man is really interesting to animate because, unlike a lot of superheroes who might fly, for example, or maybe has a super vehicle, he's basically the vehicle, right? So it all comes down to what he's able to do when he's swinging. And there might be the idea of like, well, you can get on a mocap stage, put a stuntman in a rope and just have him swing around and it's going to look awesome. But that's not actually true because we actually did some funny things. For example, we had the stuntman try to crawl around as if he was stuck to a wall. And it looked cool in real life because a real human being was doing it. But when you transfer that into CG, it actually looks a bit odd. So we actually had to think about like when we would actually use mocap and when it made sense. For example, if he's on the ground and throwing a punch, that would make sense. But when he's swinging, that's not necessarily something that you can mocap. So that was something that we would hand key and maybe use a little bit mocap. But we basically would have to craft that ourselves. And add a little stylization to make it look like he's actually swinging. And then the other really cool thing about our animation is that our Spider-Man is obviously a more experienced Spider-Man. He's not just learning how to swing. He actually knows what he's doing, so he swings with a lot of style and a lot of confidence. And that's something else that we want to come out in his animation. The other really cool thing about our Spider-Man in particular was just the rig and what went into the rig, because in a lot of other games, the character's obviously wearing tons of armor or many layers
I was like,
of
is this
clothing.
Spider-Man?
From an artistic point of view, Spider-Man is basically a naked man. So that's actually pretty punishing because there's not really any room for error there. You can't hide it with armor. All the deformations have to look absolutely stunning when he's swinging around. So he looks amazing in all of the crouch poses, the extensions, all the acrobatics that you expect from Spider-Man. So we actually had to handcraft the rig where anytime there was a lot of extreme muscle deformation, we would actually hand sculpt all of those poses. So for example, when I raise my arm, my muscles are moving, right? And we actually would sculpt all that musculature there and then incorporate it into the rig. And there are tons of these hand sculpted pieces inside the rig. So next time you check out one of our trailers when you're playing the game, I mean, definitely look at how Spider-Man's moving and how fluid he's moving and ask yourself, how did they do that? Because that's part of the magic, I guess, of making this game and creating Spider-Man.
Oh, that's awesome. That was perfect. And you guys know me, I love seeing the insights of how, game development works and how layered all the different aspects of the game making could be. So animation, environmental design, character design, just lighting, shading. And I got to go to GDC this year and go to the Insomniac booth and obviously, interview Ryan Schneider, but I also got to say hi to a bunch of other Insomniacs like Gavin Goulden, the lead character artist, and so many other awesome people there. And just seeing all the hard work that they're putting into this game and seeing how Jacinda was talking about making the suit and how the animations are implemented within Spider-Man when he's crawling, walking, swinging, fighting. It's just so cool. And I love how, again, of course, this is like the first big AAA Spider-Man game that we've ever received, and this is just like nuts how they're going about it. And I love everything about how they're handling the animations, and of course Spider-Man's suit, just the explanation of how, since Peter Parker's a scientist, we know that he has to be more, intelligent than what he would be in high school. So that's why, when he's a scientist, he's gonna also probably make upgrades for him, like with his web shooters, with the gadgets, and also his suit, with the red being more padded, blue being more flexible, white being a carbon fiber. And we knew all this in the Game Informer, if you've read it or you've seen my videos and all that, but just seeing the full explanation from Jacinda is awesome. And I just love what all the team at Insomniac is doing, of course, for Spider-Man, and I can't wait to see more of it. And I know it wasn't a big, crazy reaction with how it usually is, but just seeing how they're going fully in depth with something as you know, as not as big as a suit, but it's really important because obviously that's what the suit looks like in the game. But it's a game, not a movie. Like with the movie suit, like for, you know, Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming, or the Raimi suits in the, you know, Tobey Maguire movies, or the Amazing Spider-Man 1 movie suit where, you know, people really don't like that suit, but if you saw the behind-the-scenes video, they really go in depth, like, well, how would it look like if a web, like, blew away from a gust of wind and then hit someone in the face, and how would that look like on a suit? That's really cool how they described it. But for a video game, it's a video game, so it's not as you know, realistic as a movie suit would be, because the movie suit is a real suit that exists. The game is just for a game, but seeing all this thought, the red's more padded, blue's more flexible, white's extremely more padded because it's made out of flexible carbon fiber, and he has on his gauntlets, his main logo is on the front and the back, and on his feet, and I love all the just passion, detail, and thought that's being put into this, and I love it. But anyways, guys, that was my reaction to everything we know about the suit for Spider-Man. And just send a chew, you're awesome. Everyone at Insomniac Games, you're awesome. And I just can't wait to see more of it. Hopefully we get more videos like this, because we have been getting recently articles about Peter Parker and Mary Jane, and just stuff we kind of already know, but slightly expanded upon. This was really new. This is really good, and seeing the in-depth analysis of how the suit is going to be made and how the suit operates in the game, I love that. So hopefully next we get, maybe, I would say something maybe about the villains. I want to know more about Shocker and I guess Kingpin, because we already know a lot about Mr. Negative, or at least show off another villain, or at least say like what we saw the other day with the prequel novel. Echo and Blood Spider are two new villains that are confirmed for the game, which is awesome. Those are really unknown villains that we've never seen in any Spider-Man game before. So how they're going to be used in the novel and hopefully in the game is going to be really cool, and I can't wait to see more of it. And hopefully next, I would be fine with whatever, but definitely stay tuned to Andrew Reiner's Twitter, where he is updating us constantly about Spider-Man PS4 news, and Game Informer's Twitter, where they're the ones posting the news, and just Insomniac, of course, because they're making the game and they're awesome. So anyways, guys, that was my reaction. I know, again, it wasn't a big reaction, but still, I just love listening to the game development side of things. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. I'm going to go back and get some sleep because my hair is terrible, and play God of War, of course, because that game is amazing. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Peace out.